There are plenty of weapons out there in Battlefield 4 right now that rarely see the light of day anymore. They've been forgotten and resigned to the gun closet, collecting dust forevermore. Well, why are they sitting there? Is it because they just aren't very good? Or is it maybe that they aren't weapons that you find yourself using in the situations that you find yourself in? Well, who really knows? But in this new series, we shall attempt to find out. We'll take a weapon each week that's been forgotten, we'll look at its stats, play with it a little bit, and try and figure out why it got slung aside in favour of others. So, to kick things off, we have the QBB-95-1, the Chinese light machine gun. This weapon is built from the base Type 95 weapon family and is loosely based off the QBZ-95 assault rifle. Now firstly, and I think probably the main reason this weapon has been lost in the wilderness for the entirety of Battlefield 4's life, is that the weapon isn't really that recognisable. Sure, it's been in Battlefield 2, Battlefield Play for Free, Battlefield 3, and Battlefield 4 now, but it's just not something that you instantly recognise. Let's say you put it next to the M249, for example. That thing is immediately recognisable, whereas the QBB just isn't. It's not a weapon that people think of when they go to the LMG category. It's just not that popular. On top of this, the weapon stats don't really work in its favour. We're going for a max damage of 24 inside 8 meters and then dropping off to 18 damage at 65 meters. So this thing mimics assault rifle damage models in many ways, but it is let down by a few other poor features as well. Rate of fire sits at a fairly stagnant 650 rounds a minute, which might not be too bad when gunning for players at longer ranges, but when it comes to those twitch battles at close range, the QBB is probably going to leave you short and wanting more. Muzzle velocity is not too bad actually at 600 meters a second, and complements the low rate of fire, making it much easier to hit those long range targets. If you add to that a very favourable recoil pattern of 0.24 vertically and 0.1 to the right and 0.2 to the left, and you'll likely have little issue taking out those targets. And furthermore, an 80 round drum magazine comes as standard with this weapon, meaning you shouldn't run out of bullets all that often, but you do have less to work with than some of the other cartridge fed LMGs like the AWS for example. So with all that out on the table, a mediocre damage model, a low rate of fire but a great recoil pattern which will probably lead to very good long range accuracy depending on how competent you are with an analog stick or a mouse, why has the QBB been left out in the cold for so long? Well, for me personally, there are just other weapons in the LMG category that ultimately outclass it. I mentioned the AWS not that long ago, and immediately I'm going to run with that over the QBU. Higher rate of fire, manageable recoil, and much more effective at medium to long range, which is where most of your gunfights are going to take place. You could also argue that the QBB isn't helped by the fact that it sits on the lower tier of damage within the LMG class, where weapons like the PKP Pecheneg are simply preferred because they output more damage per shot. I mean, we could sum it up like this. The QBB is perfectly good as a weapon, but lots of other weapons that are available to be used are simply better in specific situations. Why would you settle for a jack of all trades to do a job when you could employ a specialist who get the job done much faster and more efficiently? There we go. So that is the sad story of the QBB LMG out there with the rest of the forgotten weapons. It really is a sad story. But I tell you what though, let's leave it open to you guys, the viewers, as to which weapon we go for next. I'll leave a link in the description of today's video that will take you to a poll where I've set it up for 5 weapons to be voted for, all of which are underused within Battlefield 4 right now. If you vote for one, I'll then bring it into the next episode and we'll have a look at that one and see why it's underused. That way, this series becomes a little bit more interactive for you guys, and you get a say in what I post here on my YouTube channel, which I think is pretty cool. One more thing before I go today. A lot of people have been asking if I'll be covering Hardline a little bit more soon. I know some people subscribe to me for Battlefield Hardline, and a lot of people subscribe to me for Battlefield 4. The answer is yes, I will be going back to Hardline very soon, but I'll be honest, there are just so many other channels out there right now that are spamming the game into your sub box that I thought I'd jump over to Battlefield 4 for a little bit. I do really enjoy Hardline, I really do, and I think it's great that we can run it side by side with Battlefield 4 on this channel. Both games offer their own unique advantages, really. Battlefield 4 has that more open sort of warfare, all-scale battles going on all the time, and there's vehicle combat in there as well, which is kind of lacking within Hardline, but Hardline really makes up for it with its intense infantry battle. So it's good that we can run those games side by side on this channel, but I have just taken a little bit of a break because, as I said, there are so many other people just spamming that game right now that, well, what's the point in me doing exactly the same? Might as well come back to Battlefield 4. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to go and vote for the next forgotten weapon in the link below. And while you're down there, hit up my G2A page at g2a.com/r/Westy for great deals on all the latest games. But until next time, my name is Westy, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.